with us in our food studies. We are starting our conference with our opening session. And first of all, we will have here Fernando Rebola, that is the Vice President of the Polytechnic University of Porto Alegre, in Portugal. And me, I'm Katia. I am from the Polytechnic of Lisbon, but at the same time, half of my heart is from here, Porto Alegre, and I'm teaching here, and I'm the coordinator with my dear friend Vera Barradas of the master degree in digital identity. Sorry, between the Portuguese, the English, and the Spanish, you know. And my dearest Vera, that is from the Polytechnic Porto Alegre too. So, first of all, I want to Fernando Rebola to say a few words for us. And first of all, thank you, Fernando, for being here, and of course for accept to host and to accept this challenge and receive all these amazing people here in Polytechnic of Porto Alegre. Thank you.
Bom dia, good morning, everyone. I'd like to say before I start that because I don't trust in my fluency in English, I will read my speech. So I apologize for it, but I think that it's better on this way. So on behalf of the entire academic community, it is with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you all to the Porto Alegre Polytechnic University and to this 14th International Conference on Food Studies, centered around the theme Place Matters, the valorization of cultural, gastronomic and territorial heritage. A conference that we have the honor, it is an honor for us hosting here on our beautiful campus. All of us recognize the powerful connection between food, culture and identity. The chosen theme highlights something fundamental, yet often overlooked: the complex bond between what we eat and the places we call home. It calls us to look beyond food as a mere sustenance and embrace it as a living symbol of our histories, traditions, and the geographies where we live. Place matters. These two single words carry, for me, in my understanding, a profound significance. The distinct flavors, ingredients, and culinary practice that emerge from a specific region are a form of cultural expression, a testament to human skill. Over the coming 3 days, we will explore the valorization of cultural, gastronomic, and territorial heritage. But valorization goes beyond preservation. It is also about innovation. By understanding and appreciating the heritage of food, we can foster new approaches to contemporary challenges, from food security to environmental sustainability. This conference will offer us a unique opportunity to explore these issues through scholarly presentations, panel discussions, and network sessions. We will hear from experts from every part of the world and across a wide range of disciplines, each contributing to a holistic understanding of why place truly matters in food studies. There are participants from 22 different nationalities, from Portugal to the United States, from Brazil to Australia, from Japan to South Africa, from Uganda to Spain, are excellent, but I would like to highlight the participation of Ricardo Bonacho. Is here Ricardo? No, not yet. Ricardo Bonacho in particular, because he makes us very proud, by being an alumni of our university and also one of the keynote speakers of this conference. I also would like to express my deepest thanks to the organization committee, in particular to our teachers and conference chairs, Vera Barradas on my right and Katia Rijo on my left, whose efforts have made this conference possible. My thanks go also to all of you and to all of you, your physical or virtual, I don't know if we are in,
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yes. All sessions.
So, your physical or virtual presence reaffirms the importance of this conference, and your participation will indeed enrich the dialogues that will take place. In closing, I encourage each of you to approach the next few days with curiosity, openness, and spirit of collaboration. Let us celebrate the diversity of food cultures from across the globe while also building new partnerships. Because place matters, I hope that you find here the right resources and environment on the campus of Porto Polytechnic University to enhance the opportunities for sharing and learning that the conference will offer. So, thank you all, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fernando. So now it's my time just to say a few words. Good morning, of course, all again, to all of you, to the presents, to the conference presents, to online, to emergent schoolers, and to attendants. First of all, I would like, of course, to make a special note and thank to the Common Ground Research Network for trust in me once again and in my dear friend Vera to be the hosts of this amazing conference, the Food Studies. And like we said in our welcome letter, it's a theme, the theme of this conference. We think that is perfectly suited with this region where we are, like we saw yesterday in our tour. So Alentejo, that exists between plains and mountains, it's because the reason why there are a lot of products and producers that they are very distinguished. Like, for example, the cherry from São Julião, the chestnut from Marvão that is very near from us. And like we said yesterday, the large altitudes of the vineyards, like we saw yesterday in Serra de São Mamed, are without doubt the kind of typical products of the region that are only from here, and we don't have in any other part of the country. So, for this reason, I would like to, of course, thank the organization for choosing us to host the food studies, and we hope that you have here the amazing experience that I have, like some of you already know, I'm from Lisbon, so I'm the city girl. And one of the things that I like most is to, when I leave Lisbon, and just come to teach to Porto Alegre. And when I'm reaching, when I go out of the highway and I'm arriving here to the campus, just my face starts like, because it's different. I teach here and I have my chips passing by saying, meh, oh, I miss you so much too. So, all of this is a very immersive experience, and this is a thing that we try that you have to in these 3 days. An immersion experience that is important to between the topics that we're going to talk here, but to our experience. So just mingle, talk a lot, discuss a lot about the things, about your research area, at the same time that we're going to learn with each other, with our experience in this field. So, thank you all for being part of this big family that is Common Grounds Research Networks. Thank you so much for being here. Now I'll pass to Vera that will talk in Spanish.
Yes, we are a very organized committee, so yesterday we decided we will give the honor to talk in English to Katia, y a mí, bueno, me cabe el castellano para que todos se sientan un poquito en casa, y si necesario fuera, habláramos también el portugués, porque sabemos que tenemos a alguien de Brasil, que ¿dónde estaba? Dos de Brasil, y tres, y Carlos, que ha sido nuestro alumno también de diseño de comunicación, que tuvimos esa sorpresa. Bueno, daros las bienvenidas a todos. Saludo a los miembros de la mesa, doctor Fernando Cebolla, que sé que ha hecho un esfuerzo por nosotros de hablar en inglés, y lo agradezco porque no lo hace por todo el mundo, entonces muchísimas gracias. Mi colega, amiga de la vida, compañera Katia, que ha sido siempre un honor tenerla a mi lado, y claro que esta conferencia viene aquí a Porto Alegre y es necesario que se diga porque Katia tuve la idea de traerla, y por eso agradecerle muchísimo, porque por veces nosotros sabemos que el interior del país tiene muchísimo valor y lo que tenemos es muy bueno. El problema es convencer que es verdad. Y después que vengan es muy fácil. Pero poder contar con Common Ground aquí en Porto Alegre y con todos ustedes que traen un poquito de mundo es espectacular. Y lo agradezco a Common Ground, pero a Katia, que nos ha dado este honor. A continuación también dar la bienvenida a los que van a venir después en esta mesa: Annie Fisher, Blanca Uscanga y Philip Cope, our dearest friend from Common Ground. So, como tuvimos el placer de escribir en nuestra carta de bienvenida y presentación, creo que el tema de esta conferencia cabe perfectamente en este lugar. Pienso que los que estuvieron ayer, que no tenemos que explicarlos mucho, ¿no? Porque cuando hablamos de comida, de cultura y de territorio y del lugar que interesa, el lugar que es importante, la verdad es que parece que estamos hablando de Alentejo, como si eso fuera una buenísima definición del lugar que tenemos aquí. Katia habló en inglés y yo vuelvo a hablar de los productos tan distintivos como la cereja de San Julián, la castaña de Marfão y los grandes viñedos de altitud que hemos visto ayer. Por esta razón, vuelvo a agradecer a toda la organización por elegirnos como sede de estudios de Food Studies, y esperar que tengan una semana que lo creo que va a ser inolvidable y llena de ciencia, pero también de vida, y espero que en el final os vea tan felices como ayer cuando paseábamos juntos con este color de cielo que solo tenemos aquí. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Vera. So next I will call to join here to me Annie Fisher from the University of Pretoria, South of Africa, and Blanca Rosa Uscanga, University of Guadalajara, México. ¿Puedes sentar en mí, por favor? first of all, I'll pass for Henny.
Morning, everyone. I'm not going to try and speak Spanish, and I won't bore you with speaking Afrikaans either. So, welcome to Portugal. I hope that you are going to have a really good time. I have two things that I want to speak about. I want to remind you that this conference will be in South Africa, in our university next year in October. The dates are set, it's on the website. The theme is called Fed Up. And the up means University of Pretoria, but the theme also should speak to you about where we are in the world about food. I come from a country where we actually in fact have enough food for everyone, but we are not nutritionally secure. So even though we produce enough food, the correct food doesn't reach everyone. So that's the first aim that I have this week, is to convince all of you to come to Pretoria. We have a really lovely campus that we're going to host the conference on, and we will help you and assist you. I have a big group of South Africans, but there are also other South Africans from other universities here in the audience, and we're all going to convince you that it's going to be a great conference. But that's only next year, the year after that. So I came because I have a purpose to get ICOR from Osaka to commit that we can have the conference in Osaka, in Japan, in 2026, so, unless there's somebody in the audience that is going to say, no, you're forgetting about our country, speak to us and let us know that we want to have, where you want to have the conference in 2026. And the second thing that I want to talk about is our journal. So I think we're all committed to make the journal really great. At the moment, there's a special issue that is about indigenous African food, and when Phil and I spoke, I said, but let's just make the theme indigenous food in general, and he said, no, let's first get this show on the road and talk particularly about African indigenous food. But if you have an idea for a special issue, please approach me, and let's get the ball rolling in an area that might be suitable to you, and something that you want to put a group of, a collection of papers together. The aim is in this whole thing to get the biannual publication of the issues on a regular basis again. So that's really also the aim of me being here. I wanted to know who had perhaps already attended from the first time that the conference was. Is there anyone? Because I know that the reason why I'm involved in food studies is because of one of our other keynote speakers, Harry Durant, who's a colleague of mine, and I think she's in fact been to she's been to many of them, but definitely from the very first. Well, I've only been around for the past 8 or so years. So please come along and join our conferences and take part in this community of food studies and researchers. And welcome in Porto Alegre, and enjoy the time now.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Blanca Rosa Ibarruscanga. I'm from Mexico. I work at the University of Guadalajara in Mexico. Right now, I'm going to speak Spanish. Bueno, buenos días a todos los habla hispanas. ¿Dónde están? A ver, una hola. Muy bien. Somos poquitos, pero somos suficientes los buenos, ¿verdad? Sí, pues bienvenidos a todos. Espero que este congreso de estudios en alimentos pues sea para todos muy agradable y sirva también para poder hacer colaboración, cooperación internacional con diferentes universidades. Imagino que hay aquí mucha gente tanto de Estados Unidos, de Brasil, que le escuché, hay de El Salvador, hay de México, tenemos cubanos por ahí y hasta puertorriqueños. Entonces, pues bienvenidos a todos. En México, la Universidad de Guadalajara, donde yo trabajo, es una institución muy grande. El año pasado tuvimos este congreso, tuvimos la oportunidad de llevarlo a cabo. De igual manera fue para nosotros muy agradable el haber convivido. Veo por ahí algunas caritas conocidas de que el año pasado estuvieron, como mi querido amigo, y otros aquí colegas y compañeros. Y pues yo creo que este tipo de eventos nos sirve mucho para poder conocer la cultura, la alimentación y muchas otras cosas que nos pueden servir también en el caso de la tecnología de los alimentos, la transformación, ver la inocuidad del producto y sobre todo pues cómo podemos llevar todos estos conocimientos a todos los lugares del mundo, ¿no? Estos congresos son internacionales y nos ayudan, nos aportan a poder adquirir conocimientos y sobre todo pues la amistad que también se puede encontrar en este tipo de eventos. Entonces pues yo les doy la bienvenida, espero que lo disfruten mucho y pues estamos aquí para servirle cualquier cosa. Aquí estamos en la Universidad de Guadalajara en México. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. Now I'll call Philip to come here to say a few words for us, please. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. We'll try this again. Morning, everybody. I love this. Well, last year we became teenagers. As you can see, we're now 14. And so, you know, it was a great accomplishment then, and we're now moving through our teen years. And what's so wonderful is that our childhood is in this room. There are so many people who have been to this event over the years, that have hosted this event over the years, and it's always wonderful to see that community, but also so many new faces as well. I'm Philip Cope. I'm the Chief Social Scientist of Commonwealth Research Networks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the format, so you can get the most out of the next few days, and a little bit more about our research network as well. The first thing you will note, if you haven't been to one of our conferences for the last few years, is that we don't do a printed program anymore. We do that for two reasons. Firstly, printed programs are an environmental disaster. That's number one. Two, we want to really rethink what the temporal boundaries of a conference is. So we have, firstly, we have online, we have, Tatiana always says that I never tell the numbers correctly, but we have 50 presentations online. All those presentations are asynchronous content, so people have a presentation page, the online delegates upload their content there, videos, PowerPoint, etc. We also upload the plenary speeches that we have here. We chose asynchronous during the pandemic because there's an equity issue around time zones. It's a new issue. Whose time zone? When do we speak? How do we speak? You know, often people are balancing personal and professional lives, which are complicated landscapes. And so what we wanted to do was to allow them a space to engage and view content in a way that was appropriate to them. But that's only half of what we want to do. The other half is that you all have presentation pages too, and we encourage you to upload content to that page. And you can do it after the conference. You can request it from other people. You know, on your presentation page, if somebody hasn't added it, there's a button that says request digital content. You can go back and view that content, you know, a year after, 2 years after. You can view previous conferences that we've had. You can contact the peer that is there. And so what we're trying to do is experiment with ways that we can build a new infrastructure for scholarly communication. And I say that humbly because we do it ourselves. We build our own technology. And so as a small not-for-profit that is in the, as you can tell, I live in the cornfields of central Illinois. We do our best there. So that's one part of the conference experience. The other is that we have a few session types that are a little bit different. The first is our talking circles. So you'll see after the opening right now, after the keynote, that we have a session type called a talking circle. Really what that is a nice way for us to meet in a thematic way. So each of the rooms are based on one of the themes of this research network, and we encourage you just to go into that room, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you've come from, what research you do, when you're presenting, and it's a really lovely way for us to meet and get together. The other thing that we are trying is a networking session, so on, I try and resist as much as possible to explain it as intellectual speed dating, but that's kind of what we're doing. So you go into the room and you're paired up and you have 5 minutes each where you explain what you're doing, and then we hope that's another way that we can build a kind of a research collaboration. We have a conference dinner which we still have spots for tomorrow, and on Friday we have a case study experience which is with students here at the Yes, so it'll be a hands-on workshop with faculty and students here. It says fully booked, but I don't believe that, so don't tell Tatiana I said that. The other thing is, as Henny mentioned, we're more than a conference. We have been publishing our journal and our book series for 14 years now. One of the things that we, try and live by is, firstly taking seriously the peer review. What we mean by that is we want to make sure that it's members of our community that do the work of peer review and validate the content that is produced within this content. We love Henny, we love our editorial board, but we don't want them to be dictators. And so that's part A. Part B is that we want to give the content back to you, right? So as part of your conference registration, I keep telling people this, if you have a network membership, which gives you access to the journal content. And it really is a fabulous body of research. We are making great strides in improving the impact and reputation, and so please use that as a valuable resource that is there for you too. As I said, we have a book series. You get access to the electronic versions of all the books that we've published as well. If you're interested in publishing a book, talk to me while we are here. I want to recognize, is BJ Fletcher here? BJ? No, so he's our journal award winner for this year. He's not here right now. His paper was, Is It Worth It? The Lived Experience of Food Insecurity Among College Students at a Midwestern University system. That's how that process works. It's the highest ranked paper from the year. So again, that is something that is important for us to mention. It's always wonderful to be in new places, and I really want to thank our hosts this year for the work that they've done in bringing together this conference, bringing us to a place that we wouldn't have usually gone to. One of the things that we want to do is get a little bit off the beaten trail. Now, Guadalajara isn't off the beaten trail. Neither is Johannesburg or Pretoria. I think Pretoria is a little bit off the beaten trail. Yes, for in a global perspective. And so it's really wonderful to make a contribution to this academic community, but community in general. So thank you for opening the doors for us. I'd also like to congratulate and thank our emerging scholars. Could our this year's emerging scholar awardees, could they stand up for 1 second? We are really proud of this program. It's important to put emerging voices in the front of the room, guiding conversations, making sure that we do what we need to do to be a productive community. And so I really thank you for being here, and congratulations again. I'd like to thank Penny and Blanca as well. There are research network chairs for the English and Spanish streams. One thing is important is you'll see on the badge that we have sessions in English and Spanish language. You're welcome to both. We are one community, and that's very important to us. So thank you very much. So I think that's it from me. So I hope you have a wonderful few days. I tell people I did a PhD to guide people around rooms and pick up coffee cups. So I will be there for that too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. So, really on time, almost English time. Now it's time for our first keynote speaker, Javier Medina. Javier holds a PhD in social anthropology from the University of Barcelona, Spain. It's a full professor of social anthropology, anthropology of food and nutrition at the Department of Food, Nutritional and Physical Activity, Faculty of Health Science, University Oberta de Catalunya. He is the chair-holder of the UNESCO Chair on Food, Culture and Development and World President of the International Commission of the Anthropology of Food and Nutrition. He is also the principal investigator of Food Lab, an interdisciplinary research group on food, nutrition, society and health. He's a vice president of Catalan Institute of Anthropology. As an author or editor, he has published some 20 books and over 100 scientific articles in international journal and books. He is a member and writer of the editorial team for the candidature of Mediterranean diets as an intangible cultural heritage UNESCO in 2010. Javier. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Javier Medina. Thank you, Javier, for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Feel free on the stage.
Yes, I have to move there.
Yeah. Do you want the chair? Yes.
So, good morning, bom dia. Muito obrigado pela oportunidade de estar aqui hoje. Buenos días a todas y a todos. Bienvenidos. And good morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity, to be here today, sharing some thoughts about food and place, cultural heritage, and many other things. The question starts asking about this place really matter. This place really matter. Well, we have a very common image that food products are linked to territories. It's an image that works very well in our minds, and that continues to condition us as consumers. Nevertheless, and nevertheless, again, English is on your right. We are nowadays living complex moments and situations regarding place, regarding origin. And well, it's a difficult moment. Difficult moments as consumers, as producers, as everything related to food. Anyway, we have, on the other hand, this sentence. It's a very known sentence from a very known Catalan writer, gastronomic writer. Not only gastronomic writer, but many of you maybe know Manuel Vázquez Montalbán, because he's the father, the author of Pepe Carvalho's romance, mystery romance. He said that people that does not drink its wine or eat its cheese has a serious identity problem. He said that in a moment in the late 80s, 90s, last century, in a moment that he went to a restaurant in Catalonia. And Catalonia, I don't know if you know our region in Spain, but it's a region with 9 wide denominations of origin. And his claim was that when he went to a restaurant, the only choice normally was Rioja or Ribera. Ribera del Duero is the most famous wines in Spain. But in general, in all Spain, they are not Catalan, they are not local. And his claim was, why in a region with 9 denominations of origin, when I'm even in a DO region, they are offering to me Rioja or Ribera, that foreign wines. So that was his problem. After that, he started a kind of movement in favor of local wines, and actually, if you go to a restaurant there, you can find first of all a list of local wines, and after that, you can find everything you want. But the local wines are first, and this is in many. But it's thanks to Manuel Vázquez Montalbán in the moment. But what's local, and why is it local? Well, in Europe, at least, we have some kind of official tools to certify the food territory nexus. We have the geographical indications, points the union between the product and the territory that produces it, abounding in its specificity, characteristics, productive culture, and what the territory contributes to it. But the most important thing is that it's based on the belief that any product is unique and it's marked by the place and the people who produce it. So, every product is unique because it takes part or has been produced in a particular territory, in a particular place. On the other hand, we have the designations or denominations of origin, particularly for wine, not only, but particularly for wine, that are particular type of geographical indications that usually consist of a geographical name or a traditional designation used for products with qualities or characteristics essentially due to production. The most important thing here also is that the DO, also the GI, allows the production of certain foods that will not otherwise be economically profitable. In this case, well, of course, any producer tries to get the maximum profit from his crops. This implies prioritizing more prolific or more profitable species, and that does not allow to highlight crops or products perhaps less profitable or without. So in many cases we are losing biodiversity and taste characteristics. And in this case, the local products are highlighted. It's a kind of mise en valeur of these products and are allowed to be produced. So when we are talking about the O's and the I's, we are talking about different things. Cost control, on one hand, the terroir, the one and only local territory, identity, authenticity, another interesting thing. What's authenticity? What's authentic? Yesterday, in that beautiful visit to our to the two wineries yesterday, our chairman told us about the authentic regional products of Alentejo. So, but what's authenticity? I really don't know, or I'm not sure. But anyway, I think everyone has here an idea of what's authentic, or what we are expecting of this product. What's authenticity? What's authentic? Well, in this regard, we have this interesting sentence by Regina Bendix in Search of Authenticity, when she said that the search for authenticity is a peculiar longing, but both modern and anti-modern. It's oriented to the recovery of innocence whose loss has been realized only through modernity, and whose recovery is only feasible through the methods and sentiments created in modernity. So this kind of authenticity is we can say that it's a construction from the present regarding the past. Not sure if it's a real past, but is an authentic past in our minds. Nevertheless, sorry. Today, we can see that everything should be authentic or should be claimed as authentic. It's difficult to answer. But as Bendix said, authenticity is a climb from the present, looking back to the past, and what past we are talking about, and what past we are talking about, and what items are claimed, could be another interesting discussion. Maybe not for today, but just things to think about. Interesting things on the tacite of authentic Japanese confectionery, or on that way, the authentic Mexican food, authentic Latino street food, but maybe not so authentic homemade simply Thai food. Well, it doesn't matter. Authenticity is in our minds, and works also relate to place and relate to origin. Examples. Dios, in this case, fights Dios' diminutions of origin. fight for the authenticity and viability of products. The case of balsamic vinegar, Modena's balsamic vinegar, should be interesting at this moment. Maybe many of you know the balsamic vinegar from Modena. It's a quite famous, very well known Italian product from Modena in Emilia-Romagna. And it's interesting because it's a product whose preparation can take up to 20 years with annual transfer from barrique to barrique every several months. The prices are normally high, are quite high, but the simulations are very popular also, and they are very cheap, with very low quality, of course, but very cheap. In this case, you can see the original, the authentic aceto balsamico di Modena, also 60 euros. Yes, also 600 euros per liter, so no bad. But you can also see here the copies. In one hand, less than 4 euros. The first one is a Spanish version of the balsamic vinegar, and the second one is a really Italian version of the balsamic vinegar. In this case, what's authentic? Because the first one is the original one, is the authentic one, but this one or that one is the balsamic vinegar we consume normally. Is the vinegar that most people use at home. So in this case, does the origin matters? What's authenticity in this situation? Many different questions and not really much answers. But DOs and GIs again. In this case, the DOs allows the quality control, the terroir, identity, authenticity. But on the other hand, DOs are also far from being perfect tools or instruments. Sometimes DOs are not even coherent. DOs can be also a big limitation for certain producers. They allow just a few kind of grapes and no others. So new products or experimentation is not allowed normally in the DOs. And it homogenizes also a little bit the market with the same kind of grapes, for example. Everyone has the same kind of grapes, so different wines or different DO wines are finally similar, etc. But anyway, in some ways, it seems to work. Talking about DOs, I think that the importance of designation of origin is especially evident in the world of wine. This link between the product and the territory is very important in the world of wine. Then we have a case that exemplifies very well this situation. In 2007, there was a very big international crisis, a very big international socio-economic crisis that particularly affected the countries of southern Europe, from Portugal to Greece, including Spain, Italy. And here we have different press headlines that shows what the situation was like at that moment regarding wine. Wine sales fall in the restaurant channel, losses 9% in value and 7% in volume. How to stop the decline of wine consumption? This is mainly Spanish headlines, but it was, I think, more or less the same here in Portugal and in other countries like Italy. 2009, a chaotic year for wine sales. Nevertheless, we have to ask in this moment if that situation for wines was homogeneous or was different regarding the different kinds of different types of wine. Here, or well, maybe here you can see it better. If we take a look at the graphs and the percents, we can see that not all the wine drops equally. The table wine, the irregular wine, the wine without a denomination of origin, it is without a link with the territory, collapses, and on the contrary, wine with designation of origin skyrockets and its consumption increases considerably. So, it's not the same situation for the item wine. Table wine decreases, wine with DO increases considerably. We have here different of the well, probably here you can see it, how the wine with DO increases and the other one is there. We might think that it is because in a crisis moment, only those who can afford to buy more expensive wine can buy. Nevertheless, this is not exactly the case here, because in the case of Spain as well, in Portugal, and also in Italy, maybe, we have DO wine for 2 or 3 euro bottle. So it's not exactly a matter of price. Sometimes the wine with DO or inside a DO has the same price that the regular table wine without the retail. Again, another crisis in 2018, we can see the same. Another moment of crisis, the Spanish households invest more in wine with geographical indication. Another moment of socio-economical crisis, another moment where we find that wine with DO are not exactly collapsing. And finally, in our last crisis, that was not socio-economical, or not only, was a health crisis, we can see exactly the same. Every time there is a crisis, the wine that decreases is always the wine with the designation of origin, while the wine without the designation of origin decreases considerably. In this case, it's particularly interesting how the DO wine are increasing here. So, it's not an exact rule, not at all. However, can be an interesting indicator, and is at least interesting. We have here, and going to territories, a sentence by Spanish socio-anthropologist Jesus Contreras talking about wine. And he said, unlike any plant or any other food, knowledge of vineyards and wines very officially involves the comparison of their genesis. Thus, now that current fashion returns to the values of the land and leans towards natural cultural heritage. wine has been and continues to be a product deeply related to the land, to ecology, to the spirit and knowledge. Thus, its production throughout history has left deep traces. We had yesterday a very nice visit to two wineries, and well, we can have a kind of idea of what is this, of how the wine has a very close link to the territory. Talking about territory, not only the geographical land, but territory as people, place, knowledge, history, and everything around the product. Because finally, we are also building territories. When we are talking about territory, land, place, we are talking about nature and culture at the same time. We are socio-culturally constructing landscapes and territories. We have also, we can also say that that wine has a particular role in the construction of what we consider as territories and landscapes. And we are always talking about different concepts like territory, history, culture, soil, and that's finally the terroir, isn't it? We can talk about right now about two different examples of how we can build territories regarding wine, food territories regarding wine, in different linking different concepts. The first one, we have here a beautiful landscape from the Priorat region in the south of Catalonia. It's a very interesting wine, very appreciated, quite expensive. The Priorat wine is one of the two qualified designations of origin in Spain, together with Rioja. And regarding we have here this landscape, but we have here the map of the region, of the Priorat region. It's quite interesting to see that this is the same region. All this is the Priorat region. But here, in the middle, there is the Dio Priorat. So in the center of the region, of the Dio region, we can see the Priorat Dio, and here, all around, in the same territory, the same region, we can find another the denomination of origin called Monsanto. In this case, if we are talking about the same region called Priorat, why have we, in this case, two different dios in the same region? It's more or less the same place, the same climate, the same soil. Why are we talking here about two different dios?
There's a problem with skipping some of the slides.
Yes.
It's a problem with resolution for the computer, not for the project.
Okay. So,
Yes.
yes. with, you can find here the region, the Priorat region, and here the Dio Mont-Saint without the center of the region, which is Dio Priorat. In this case is why we have two different Dios in this territory. And the answer is not exactly about climate, it's not exactly about the soil, even if we will find some differences, small difference between different parts of this territory and the other one, but not so big. And finally, why we have two? Because the territory of the Dio of Priorat with the most valued and most extensive wines is the one that is composed of the 12 municipalities that were since the 12th century owned by the Carthusian monastery of Scalade. So the center of the region has another Dio because it's the historical region with the 12 original municipalities owned by the Carthusian monastery of Scalade. In this case, we are constructing a region not because the climate, not exactly because the soil, not because the characteristics of, not only the characteristics of the wine, but because the history is important here. So the place, finally the place is important, and not only because the territory, but also because history. We have here some views of the Priorat. By the way, a very similar landscape like here in orientation in many ways. Heritage in the Priorat region, ancient cellars from the beginning of the 19th century. And of course, the best pairing with local wine is normally local gastronomy. And this is because the Priorat region is a very strong region in gastronomy in Catalonia, with many restaurants with Michelin star and everything. We have another example about how are we building territories regarding food and Dios. In this case, the Dio Cava. Maybe you know what's Cava? Cava is a sparkling wine made in Spain in this case, and I said made in Spain. You will see why. That is a historic sparkling wine made in Spain up to the 19th century, using méthode champenoise, so using traditional French champenoise method. Here you have the Dio Cava in Spain. All these territories take part of the Dio Cava in Spain. The Dio Cava was created in the 70s of the last century as a result of the international denunciation of the Champagne appellation, which prevent the use of this appellation for sparkling wines not produced in the Champagne region. It is not in France, outside the Champagne region, and of course not in other countries. At the time, the appellation was changed to Champagne, as it was called in Spain at the time, to Cava. And the situation was complicated. The history of sparkling wine production in Spain began at the end of the 19th century in Catalonia, again here, in the region of Penedès, which is the original region of Cava in Spain. And And then this region was established as the nerve center of this production for almost a century. But in the early 70s, there were already some small wineries producing this type of wine in different parts of Spain, such as Aragon, Extremadura, Valencia. We are here in this area, so we are neighbors. And here is where a new question arises. If in the case of the Priorat and Monsanto, when you are in some farms in Priorat and Monsanto, when you are this is the 12 original municipalities in Priorat, but the farms are bigger than that, and maybe in many cases the farms are crossing the different municipalities. So if you have a farm, a winery, and you have the line of the DO here, on your right you will have the DO Priorat with very appreciated and expensive wines, and 1 centimeter on your left you will have the other one in your own farm, our winery, and you are on the other centimeter you are producing another kind of wine, less appreciated and cheaper. So this line matters, and in this case the origin really matters, because economically you are being affected to this situation. And the question now is regarding cava. The question now regarding cava is why, if in the first case 1 centimeter on the right of the left is so important, why here you can produce inside the denomination of origin, you can produce the same product, the same wine here or there, almost 1,000 kilometers from each other. If the territory matters, why, and in the other example, 1 centimeter really matters, why here 1,000 kilometers are not so important? And everything is inside the same denomination of origin. Maybe because here we are constructing this territory from a political perspective at the end of the dictatorship. They tried to make a kind of consensus in all of Spain, including all the wineries producing cava in the same DO. In this case, the territory is a kind of Spain, a big country with a lot of kilometers between the different points of the production. So, finally, and to go to the end, because we are a bit late, I think. The situation in Cava, DO Cava, is difficult at this moment. This is different sentences from the president of the Cava Regulatory Council a few years ago, and he said, the present challenge is to put an end to one of the original sins with which the Okava was born. It's very poor identification with a specific geographical area. The situation is difficult because the different territories inside the DO are fighting all the time about who's the original one, who has more rights than others, and who is the best product, who is producing the best cava in the different territories. On the other hand, cava is selling internationally with a very low price. So different wineries that are really looking for quality, for a good product, for a very expensive product. In some cases, they are not particularly comfortable inside a denomination of origin like this. And finally, we can see here that a few years ago, this is 2019, 9 Penedès wineries producing cava left the Cava DO to seek more prestige in the Corpinat denomination. So they create a new geographic indication to be inside and separate to the DO Cava. So going to the end now, and sorry because there's a lot of more examples back here. So finally, to not conclude that place as origin is frequently complex, difficult to define. It usually works very well in our perception as consumers. But we have to have in mind that the territory is always constructed, not only geographically, but socially and culturally. And also, in any case, we are always talking about food, culture, product, terroir, heritage, socioeconomic development, and much, much more. And this is all. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Question. We have about 15 minutes for questions. Yes. If you want to move to this microphone, we'll run this one.
Morning. Thank you so much for that. I really enjoyed it, especially the last slide with typical anthropological style to not conclude. So thank you for that. I'm from Henny Fisher country, otherwise known as South Africa. I wanted to bring us back to that very slippery, contested notion of authenticity. And I wonder if you could elaborate on putting it in a place of tension with innovation. Authenticity is, a retrospective looking back for the so-called true purist. How does that perform with innovation? Can there be authentic innovation? What does that do to authenticity? What can that do for innovation? So if you could elaborate a little bit on that. Thank you.
Well, it's a difficult question. I really don't know exactly how that works. Normally, authenticity is something we have in our minds, trying to put in a place some thoughts we have regarding how a product has to be, how it's expected to be, and it has also to be shared with others. So something is authentic because it's authentic for you and probably for me and many others. So innovation is regarding the future, and it's the transformation of that product. It's a kind of transformation of that product going to the future. And it's that authentic, or will be authentic in the future if you are changing something, if you are making modifications to the product that it's not so in our minds original or as it was? I don't know. We have to have in mind that nothing is static. Everything is moving because culture is moving all the time. So we are creating, we are modifying everything, and we are not eating as 50 years ago, and we will not eat or drink in the future, in 50 years as we today. But it takes part of a kind of idea, a strange idea, classifying with particular classification of items that normally works in our minds. But is it authentic? What's authentic? I don't know. I have not really an answer.
Hi, I found your presentation quite interesting, so thank you so much. I can tell, I'll say my question in both English and Spanish, not in Portuguese though. Not today. Mi pregunta es, ¿a quién satisface esta etiqueta de autenticidad según tu investigación? So, who does this label of authenticity satisfy, at least in your research?
It's also difficult to answer. Who? The consumer first, because normally consumers are looking for something specific in that product. So we are looking for authenticity. We are looking for locality. We are looking for this link between the territory, the land, people, and the knowledge and culture. So we are looking for something in this sense, and that also works like authenticity works in our minds. So finally, we are looking for that, and on the other hand, the denominations of origin are satisfying this necessity, and they are selling regarding our necessities. So it's a kind of general satisfaction with big limitations, because we are producing something the same way, always the same way in a territory, and we are constructing traditionality. So we are doing that way because it was the original way, or it was something related to our idea of that original way. And finally, we are standardizing this way to make things, trying to traditionalizing something. So finally, it's different actors, different interests, different matters.
Thank you.
Yo voy a hacer una pregunta en español.
Adelante.
Bueno, antes de nada, pues estuvo muy interesante la plática. Hablaste sobre lo que son productos de denominación de origen y productos artesanales. Normalmente cuando un producto es artesanal, más bien al revés, uno de denominación de origen inicia como un producto artesanal y actualmente existe ya la gran industria que se ha transformado de algo artesanal a algo industrial y que se han cambiado precisamente muchos procesos, muchas cosas que se guardaban de lo que es la denominación de origen en una elaboración de un queso, de un vino, muchos productos que existen. Y mi pregunta es, ¿cómo ha impactado, al menos en España, la industrialización de todos estos productos de denominación de origen con respecto a lo que es la industria artesanal? Porque ha sobrevivido la industria artesanal de alguna manera, pero ya a nivel industrial, de hecho hasta el costo del producto puede ser más económico que uno artesanal.
Sí, los procesos son complicados en este caso. Normalmente acostumbramos a tener un producto que está relacionado con el territorio, que se elabora de determinadas maneras tradicionales y que finalmente acaba teniendo un nombre, una reputación en un territorio. Desde ahí es muy posible que, por un lado, se continúe fabricando a nivel artesanal los pequeños productores. Ayer vimos, por ejemplo, dos tipos de bodegas distintos, una pequeña y una grande, y hacían cosas bastante diferentes, ¿no? Los pequeños productores lo continúan haciendo de una manera, los grandes productores lo harán de otra. Muchos de estos entran en la industria y la industria acaba estandarizando ese producto y creando industrialmente una versión de ese producto más barata. Desde ahí el nombre aumenta, el producto es consumido y llega a más gente a mejores precios, pero el otro se sigue manteniendo porque tiene que ser puesto en valor. Cuando es puesto en valor, finalmente acaba subiendo el precio y la gente lo continúa comprando cuando busca calidad o cuando busca nexo con el territorio o cuando busca otras cosas, mientras que el industrial acaba tomando otro camino. Entonces, claro, esas tradicionalidades finalmente, que sea algo tradicional no impide que no pueda entrar en la industria, que la industria no pueda tomar lo tradicional, industrializarlo y convertirlo en otro producto, en un producto más asequible, más estándar, hecho de otra manera y que llegue al público. ¿No? Es un poco lo que ocurría con el vinagre balsámico, ¿no? Se crea un producto distinto, con el mismo nombre más o menos, pero distinto y normalmente fuera de la DO, pero con otro precio, y ese es el que está llegando a todo el mundo finalmente. Todo el mundo acaba utilizando ese porque es barato. Nadie puede permitirse un vinagre que cuesta 60 euros, pero sí uno que cuesta 4. Pues a partir de ahí, ese diálogo entre la industria y la pequeña producción en relación a lo tradicional acaba siendo compleja y llevando por caminos que nunca se sabe hasta dónde pueden llegar.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I wanted to offer first my 2 cents about authenticity because there are several questions. I would like us to maybe challenge the notion of temporality or like the connection to time, because as I see it, it's more about the external gaze. So if I'm from Morocco and I cook couscous a certain way and my neighbor does it a different way, they're not authentic, they're just bad cooks. It becomes a question of authenticity when I'm a tourist or where I'm outside of the temporal setup. But like it's an interesting question that I also engage with, but my question is very specific. So you talked about the rise in sales of local wine during crisis, and I wanted to ask if this data is for domestic sale or also export, because then like I wonder like if you have any insights on the connection to the rise in nationalism during crisis. Like, is it connected also to notions of, you know, belonging in a less positive perspective?
Yes, it's in domestic sales, because normally in restaurants you cannot find regular wine. So when you go to a restaurant, you only find good wines, and they are always inside the denomination of origin. So in the restaurant, it's always the same. It's related to sales at home. And why? I don't know, because maybe in a moment of crisis we are losing also certainties, and we need something to appreciate. We need something to link us to a territory, to something real, and we can recognize in that product, in that wine, something related to our identities, it's a kind of comfort food. I really don't know, but finally the link works, and the regular wine is going down and the other is going up. Why? Probably because of the territory, but why? Why because the territory? Because the territory has something, the territory, the place has something to say that the other one has not.
Okay, thank you very much.